Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fall. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
I'm going to play you about 2.5 minutes. This is really, not that painful, okay? But it's 2.5 minutes of former Deputy Attorney General Don Ayer and his testimony under oath yesterday. Now, before he could testify, there was so much disruption from that idiot boy, Doug Collins, and Louis Gohmert started in the middle of his testimony, banging on the table, just so people would not be able to hear what the sworn testimony from the former Deputy Attorney General was and is. But it's devastating. It's devastating. So I think this is the most important thing for you to hear today, knowing what is at stake here for the entire justice system, which, by the way, is unequal now. And if you think it's unequal now, oh my God, give Donald Trump another 4 years. Holy crap. Listen, just listen.
I was privileged to serve in the Department of Justice under 2 Republican and 1 Democratic president, and I am here because I believe that William Barr poses the greatest threat in my lifetime to our rule of law and to public trust in it. That is because he does not believe in its core principle, that no person is above the law. Instead, since taking office, he has worked to advance his lifelong conviction that the president should hold virtually autocratic powers. That includes immunity from nearly all checks and balances and being able to accord special treatment to himself and his friends. The system that Barr is working to tear down was put in place in the aftermath of the Watergate scandals, which involved extensive government corruption and caused a widespread loss of trust. After Nixon resigned, President Ford's Attorney General Edward Levy acted swiftly to restore trust by supporting reforms to prevent such abuses. These included statutes like FISA, the First Inspector General Act, expansion of FOIA, and the Whistleblower Protection Act. Levy knew that public trust ultimately depended on people believing that ours is a government of laws and not men, in which no person is above the law. Barr has sought to give the president nearly unlimited powers by negating or overriding many independent processes that operate as important checks on executive branch action. Here are some of the things that he has done. He has worked to defeat any meaningful oversight, either by Congress or by review in the courts, through litigation, legal opinions, and his own speeches. He has himself refused multiple times to show up in response to requests to appear before Congress. He has worked to undermine Congress's appropriation power by litigating the president's right to divert funds to pay for his border wall, which Congress refused repeatedly to fund. He has regularly undermined the authority of independent decision-making processes and career professionals whose disinterested integrity Levy saw as a key element justifying public trust. He has done this by his own statements, such as last March when he publicly whitewashed the Mueller report's extensive findings on obstruction of justice, and last December when he publicly contradicted key conclusions reached by Inspector General Horowitz in his FBI election interference probe. Both times, Barr's intervention vocally reaffirmed positions advanced regularly in presidential tweets. He has also done it by enlisting various political cronies to review and reverse decisions of experienced career attorneys, or by simply replacing them in handling matters of personal interest to the president. This is how he accomplished the reversals of long-held department positions in the cases of Trump associates Roger Stone and Michael Flynn, urging a much lighter sentence in one case and outright dismissal in the other.
I mean, this is just disgusting, and it is such a disregard for the normal course of justice that Bill Barr is the most dangerous and threatening to the rule of law in the United States of America that a deputy attorney general has ever seen in his lifetime. I'm telling you, Zelensky, Aaron Zelensky, who worked with Mueller, he testified to the same thing, that there is a system of Donald Trump's friends getting justice and then everybody else. I would argue that it's even worse than that. There's Donald Trump's friends, and his mob boss lawyer who pretends to be the Attorney General of the United States, but he's really Donald Trump's mob boss attorney, right? A personal attorney, just like Rudy Giuliani is a personal attorney, but he uses like the entire function, all of the moving parts of the Department of Justice to protect and defend Donald Trump and Donald Trump's lawless friends. Then there's a system of justice for, your normal white collar criminal and who can afford. And then there's the system of justice for those of us who can't afford lawyers, who can't afford to defend ourselves. And either we plea or somehow, we're in debt because of legal bills because somebody accused us of doing something. I mean, it's just so heinous. Here we are trying to make it a more perfect union, a better system of justice, a more equal system of justice. Says over the Supreme Court, equal justice under law. We don't have that. We haven't had that in a long time. But the last time we had a lawless president, we put things in place like inspector generals. And Donald Trump has, through Bill Barr, fired almost every one. Friday night massacres. Just firing Jeffrey Berman on a Friday night, firing inspector generals across the board. And the testimony yesterday, hang on a second, went down the wrong pipe. The testimony yesterday was so horrible. And the only conclusion you could come up with, sorry, wait. I need to take a sip. Sorry. I'm just swallowing really hard.
I would have loved to jump in and save you, but I'm working on the thing with the thing.
No, I know. We're having a little technical issue with the YouTube today. So Brett is on the phone with the techs that support our system of connecting to the YouTube. Okay, so that's what's going on. But anyway, this testimony yesterday, these people flat out said, under oath, flat out said that William Barr poses the greatest threat in my lifetime to our rule of law and to the public's trust in it. The only thing surprising about Trump and Barr is that it took Trump so long to find his soulmate. He thought the racist Jeff Sessions was going to do it for him. But see, Jeff Sessions is just, this deep, right? Because he's a little guy, right? And so he's just, he's this. But all he really was about was racism and, immigration. And we got this really bad ruling today from the Supreme Court on immigration and habeas corpus. But it's about asylum seekers who can't name the people who will kill them or beat them if they go back to their country. And if you can't name the people who will kill you or beat you, then the court can put you into a mass deportation scenario and you don't have the right to habeas corpus. You don't have the right to challenge it, appeal it, question the court, nothing. That was the ruling today, 7-2. But I digress. So here you have Bill Barr, who apparently made his money but wasn't having any fun. And now he's having all kinds of fun being Donald Trump's personal mob attorney. And his lifelong conviction that the President of the United States is an autocrat and should hold virtually all power, autocratic powers, is what's being testified to here. Now, unfortunately, Bill Barr couldn't have picked a worse president because Trump is a complete moron. RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.